Welcome back to Star Goblin Radio. Today I'm going to talk about the original Phantasy Star for the Sega Master System and softlocking your game. Or, more importantly, how to not softlock your game. Unlike a hard lock, which causes the game to crash and ceases to function, a soft lock occurs when the game is still operational, but something occurs within it that prevents you from progressing the story further. I think if this game was released today, the developers would have either realized that this could happen in the game, or they would have released a patch after the softlock was discovered to prevent it from occurring for their players. Phantasy Star was released in the 1980s, and the only patches we had in those days went on jackets, or they were where we harvested hideous cabbage babies from. The first softlock in Phantasy Star that I stumbled across occurs at a very brief specific moment in the game. Your characters unlock their own ship, the Lavino. At this moment, the starports on all planets are shut down and can no longer be used, and you haven't yet acquired the Land Rover vehicle. This creates the perfect set of circumstances for a disaster. After gaining access to the Lavino, I decided I was going to use Elise's fly spell and heal up my characters before progressing my adventure further. When you use the fly spell, it returns you to the last church that you visited. In my case, the church was located in Pazio on the planet Motavia. After arriving at the church, I walked over to the Mayor's Island, where I could rest for free, and I saved my game. I then walked back to Pazio's starport so that I could fly back to Palma, the starting planet, where the Lavino was parked, and it was closed. The guards wouldn't let me pass, and I couldn't use public transit to get back to my ship. There's nowhere else to go in the town to progress, so I left. And I tried to head south. There's a city called Secure, where you can also access the Lavino, but that didn't work either. The entire city is surrounded by antlions, which are part of the map. You can fight the antlions and defeat them, but it doesn't clear them off the map. The only way to traverse through them is by using the Land Rover. Tried to head north, and there is a cave there, but the cave doesn't lead anywhere that helps you progress the game. I was stuck in this zone. Couldn't figure out what to do, so I checked online for a solution. And I found out this is a softlock in the game. There's nothing you can do at this point. If the last church you visited was in Pazio, you don't have the Land Rover, and you fly back to that town and save, you're trapped. Forever. Doomed to wish you could get to your ship, and longing for a way off a desert planet. The second softlock in Phantasy Star occurs due to some dead ends in the dungeons. You reach these areas by falling through pit traps, and there's no stairs or doors to get back out. If you fall into one of these areas and save your game, and don't have an item to exit the dungeon, and Meow is either dead or doesn't have the magic points to cast exit, you'll be unable to escape the dungeon, and your save is done for. And the very last softlock occurs due to inventory limitations. If you have too many items in your inventory and attempt to pick up another item, you'll be prompted to drop something from your inventory to make space for it. There are several required items in Phantasy Star that you can't beat the game without acquiring. When prompted, it might be tempting to not drop anything from your inventory, because it seems like you should be able to head back to town, sell some of your equipment, come back, and pick up that required item once you have the space for it, but the game's not designed that way. If you turn down that required item, it's lost forever, you can't find it again, and if you saved your game after turning it down, you can't progress the game any further. The best advice to avoid these, other than knowing how they might occur, is to always have backup saves in your games. Not all games allow you to have multiple save states, but Phantasy Star does. There's 5 of them, and so as you progress through the game, make sure you're saving to the different save spots. So if your primary save gets softlocked, you can still go back to the previous save and maybe have to work a little bit to get back to where you were, but you don't have to restart the entire game from the beginning. Have you ever softlocked your game? Is there any softlocks in Phantasy Star I missed? Let me know in the comments, and until next time, that's it. That's a show. And always back up your data.